Hello, this is Molly Reamer with this month's Herbal Ally video for October. The goddess we are honoring this month is Lakshmi, and we are using the Herbcrafter's Tarot from Joanna, Powell, Colbert, and Leticia, Guthrie, as well as the Goddess Oracle by Sophia, Marashinsky. So we're going to go ahead and start right away with and also the Story Goddess Oracle card, which is a benefit for members of the Goddess Magic community on Patreon. So we're going to go ahead and start right away with the Herbal Ally card. And the Herbal Ally card we received from the Herbcrafter's Tarot is the 10 of Fire, which is comfrey. And so comfrey is a really interesting herb with many, many, many uses. And it was a herb I used myself following childbirth. It was also an herb that I used to grow, and then I had ducks, and the ducks ate all my comfrey. It's a really rambunctious and hardy type of plant, but it turned out to be no match for the ducks after all. And then I have a little bit of thoughts about the healing properties that I'll share with you in a minute after I read from what Joanna has to say about what Leticia has to say about the 10 of Fire comfrey. So comfrey is a multifaceted herb that you can use to make infused oil. You can make compresses. It was used for wound healing in battlefields during the Civil War. You can make tinctures with it. I'm not sure if you can make tea with it or not. Again, I'm not an herbalist. This is not herbal advice. I'm just sharing some of the wisdom that I have learned over the years about comfrey. But as always, this is something that you should investigate further if it's something you're interested in using as medicine. So popping on over to the Herbcrafter's Tarot companion book to see what they have to say. And the message here is, there can be too much of a good thing. Stop, step away, soothe yourself, cut it down, and it roars back to life. Cut it down, and it roars back to life. So an affirmation to go with this might be, I stop, I step away, I soothe myself. I stop, I step away, I soothe myself. And so they go on to say that peace follows overwhelm. You may be overextended. The shelves in this room are full, and yet the crafting continues. Rest and replenish so your experiences can take root. An affirmation might be, I rest and replenish. I allow my experiences to take root. I allow my experiences to take root. Refresh your love of creating by releasing some self-imposed responsibilities. This is a very, very pertinent message for me personally. So an affirmation might be, I refresh my love of creating. I release some self-imposed responsibilities. Listen to this. Comfrey quickly becomes burdensome and difficult to manage, but it will regenerate after harsh cutting. Even a small amount can quickly flourish into a new plant. Commit to just a few tasks and set the rest aside. Pushing too hard will lead to waste and exhaustion. Do not be afraid to give away some of your creative ideas. When you harvest too much, let what you cannot use feed the soil for next season's growth. So my personal story about comfrey is that the other thing about comfrey that you have to pace yourself with or honor that message of, there can be too much of a good thing. You know, what am I creating that I need to let go of? What am I creating? How can I refresh my love of creating by releasing some self-imposed responsibilities? What feels burdensome and difficult to manage? How can I commit to just a few tasks and set the rest aside? And so with my own experience with wound healing, is I used this in postpartum after childbirth for tear recovery. And what happens is that comfrey works so fast and so well, it can actually heal your skin over a wound. So as I mentioned in the Civil War situation, sometimes what they found is comfrey healed the skin and healed the wound so fast that it left the underneath kind of festering, and so bad things would grow underneath because it healed the skin so rapidly, and it did its wound healing so well. And so I had a similar experience, that it healed the skin so well that it actually kind of trapped some infection below the skin because it was doing its work too hard, too well. And so too much of a good thing is a message here from comfrey. And so things that you could practice with the comfrey, you can burn it as an offering, you can leave it as an offering, you can make an infused oil with it, you can use it as a compress. Use with caution, use with care, because too much of a good thing can be too much. So some crafting ideas and practice ideas from the Herbcrafter's Tarot is, write down what you need to release, roll it tightly in a comfrey leaf, and burn the leaf when it is dry. If you also have loose comfrey, you can burn the comfrey into a little fire and burn your releasing things in with the comfrey. Make a comfrey Comfrey salve for burns, bruises, and injuries. Each time you use the salve, let it be an invitation to rest and soothe your overworked spirit. Use Comfrey in magical practice on an altar or in spells to inspire you to come back to life. To inspire you to come back to life. So this is a good message for this time of year, is especially leaving behind Demeter and how she brought things back to life. What are you needing to bring back to life? How do you need to rest so that you can bring something back to life? So then we're going to pop on over to the Goddess Oracle, the Lakshmi card. Of course, Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance, the Indian goddess of abundance. And so we're going to see what Amy Sophia Marashinsky has to share with us about Lakshmi. I am the ever-flowing outpouring of plenty, the inexhaustible, the never-ending. From the fullness of my being, I give richly and opulently, generously and copiously, luxuriously and liberally. I am limitless, for I cannot be contained. I am everywhere, and I will never cease to be. So that's an interesting... I didn't even really make the connection until just this minute about the overwhelming abundance of Comfrey and how generous and how giving and how abundant it is. And that really is Lakshmi's message as well, generosity and abundance and ever-flowing outpouring of plenty. Sometimes I joke sometimes about having a crisis of abundance. Sometimes we have to put a limit on that outpouring, that ever-flowing outpouring of plenty. Sometimes we have to choose, even good things. That can be when I say crisis of abundance, it means that we have to choose in our lives. We really do have to choose. And sometimes that means saying no to something good. Like it's not, I think there's an assumption sometimes when people say, look at your life, cut things out that aren't working for you anymore, that you no longer need. And one of the things that can be really, really challenging, especially as a creative person, especially as a person with a full and vibrant life, is that sometimes you have to look at your life and everything is good and something still needs to be cut out. So you're saying no to good things. You're saying no to things that you actually want to do, because we have to understand and recognize and honor the realistic human limits of our own human-sized lives. And sometimes that actually means saying no to something good. So this is an excellent time of year to evaluate whether there's anything left that you're doing that you don't actually want to do and that you can let go of. But sometimes it also means recognizing that you're going to have to shut the door on good opportunities or say no to things you actually want to do in order to continue to nurture your spirit, take care of yourself, and have enough from which to give in the future. So worship of Lakshmi began prior to the Aryan invasion of India. She's considered the animating force or Shakti of Vishnu, the preserver. Her sacred animal is the cow, symbol of abundance and plenty. She appears in this card with elephants pouring water, another symbol of her powerful abundance. Although described as floating on the eternal sea of time, resting on a lotus, Hindus say that the gods churned the sea of creation and Lakshmi appeared in all of her splendor, which makes me think of Venus also rising from the waters. There's a lot of overlap between cultures and goddesses. So Lakshmi appears in our lives to tell us it's time to nurture wholeness. So perfect affirmation, I nurture wholeness. It's time to nurture wholeness by recognizing and living from abundance. Another affirmation might be, I live from abundance. Is your existence defined and contained by parameters of scarcity rather than abundance? Are your finances based on poverty rather than plenty? Is your outlook on, and I'm going to acknowledge financially things are tough for a lot of people right now. So please don't let that statement make that be a personal affront because there can be, genuine scarcity. But are you focusing on poverty or plenty or lack or abundance? Is your outlook on life one of never having enough rather than of having your needs met? Let yourself open to the abundance, the bounty that exists in your world. Abundance is around us, even if there's something that is scarce. There's abundant growth, there's abundant trees, there's abundant animals, there's abundant birds. Somewhere there's abundant joy, somewhere there's abundance. Lakshmi says that abundance is hard to perceive if lack, poverty, and scarcity dominate our consciousness. The way to wholeness for you lies in opening to the flow of abundance in the universe. I am open. An affirmation could be, I am open to the flow of abundance in the universe. And recognizing the abundance in your life. So another affirmation could be, I recognize the abundance in my life. When you open to the flow, you become a part of it and you draw it to you. When you become aware of the abundance in your life in all of its forms, so abundance isn't just financial, it's friendship, it's health, it's family, it's love, it's beauty, it's magic, it's talent, it's humor, etc. When you become aware of it, you can call in more from a conscious place. And so that is that is some thoughts to consider about Lakshmi and abundance. And we're going to go ahead and close with my own Story Goddess Oracle card here. On the back, we have delight. That's our word of the month. An affirmation. I am open to delight. A little card reminder. Goddess, guide me into the place of trust I carry within, into a place of power, a place of connection and belonging, a place of delight and divine listening. Goddess, guide me into the heart, into stillness, into my own magic. I am here with what I have, and it is enough. I am here with what I have, and it is enough. So that's another phrase my mom is fond of saying, enough is in abundance. And really, in many ways, enough is in abundance. And we do have to determine and decide what is enough for us. And sometimes we need to cap it there, cut it there, hold it there, instead of letting it grow riotously out of control. We can say enough is in abundance. This is enough for today. This is enough for this week. This is enough for this month. This is enough. And rest in that enough is in abundance instead of continually growing and growing and growing more. Okay, and then truly closing with Lakshmi's little poem here. Listen, I trust in abundance and in the energy of generosity that flows through the web of life. I urge you to seek opportunities to give, to hold your sweet and tender offerings up under a new risen sun, feeling the pulse of purpose in your blood and bones. I remind you that wholeness is a truth of being. So may you remember that enough is in abundance. May you remember that wholeness is a truth of being. And may you be open to abundance in so many forms and so many blessings coming your way. Thank you so much for being here. Keep living your magic, everybody. Bye-bye now.